Hello, Kexin. Let me go through some of your scripts, okay, and some feedback for you, things you gotta pay attention to, okay. Look at this essay that you wrote. Okay, do you agree that we live in an increasingly unsafe world? So you wrote body paragraph. Some things to note, okay. When we know about scientific knowledge, okay, I think the best way to capture a context is using the word given. Given our increasingly technologically advanced world, given our growing affluence, given our growing scientific knowledge as compared to the past. So try to use the word given, okay, for your case. You'll find it a lot easier, and language-wise is a lot more accurate too. Okay, the context, however, you're talking about scientific knowledge. Then you link it to pollution. Scientific knowledge and pollution in between, right? There are a lot of logical hoops. So scientific knowledge must lead to technological advancement, and technological advancement, which is not the same as science, by the way, will then lead to more maybe manufacturing activities. Then the manufacturing activities or industrial activities will then lead to pollution. So it is it's a very long chain of cause and effect. Instead, I would much rather you say industrialization, okay? However, to talk about industrialization, saying, however, given our rapid industrialization as compared to the past, okay, or given our increasingly industrialized world, or as countries become more and more industrialized, okay, those are fine. Okay, we create more harmful waste. Okay, so again, like after various experiments, scientific knowledge is being discovered. Now this is like irrelevant because you gotta cause and effect. Okay, you gotta A leads to B to C to E. So we want to drop this. Everything here is good. Okay. Over here in your example, please link your example back to safety. The question is about unsafe. So how is this not safe? You say it causes health problems and all that. Now, in the eyes of the examiner, that may or may not constitute a safety problem. So mention the word safety again. Okay. Okay. Maybe unsafe levels of pollutants. Okay. Use the word unsafe levels of pollutants. Okay. Also, do mention that it threatens our long-term survival, because this will be linked to safety. As in, people see this, they would be reminded of safety again. Health problems among the locals, okay? So we know what kind of health problems, who's suffering from this. Yeah, hence we live in an increasingly unsafe world because of what? Okay, because of our increasingly unsustainable practices. Right. Okay, so that's for this particular question. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, all these files I will drop it in your Dropbox. Yeah. Here, this question on national identity. Now, you have chosen a point about countries, people embracing pluralism rather than national identity. Okay, they embrace people from everywhere, and embrace people like coming in and out. So there is some relevance to migration. Yes. Okay, transnational. Trans means across nation. So there's some relevance to migration. So over here, this is good. You talk about migration. What is missing here, however, is this idea of regionalism. Okay, later on you talk about Europe, right? EU. When you talk about a group of countries coming together and then seeing themselves as the group of countries rather than the individual countries, that is called regionalism. So if I subscribe to regionalism, I would not say hi, I'm a Singaporean. Okay, I would probably say hi, I'm a Southeast Asian, or I'm an Asian. Okay, so that identity comes first before I call myself a Singaporean. For the Europeans, it's the same. Okay, so do mention regionalism or even the word trade bloc. Okay, how these countries have come together to become one bigger entity. Okay, one larger entity, and so have the people living in them. Okay, they see themselves as part of something bigger. Here you say the EU leads to exchange of beliefs and values between foreigners and locals. This is problematic because what is the concept of foreigners and locals? It might even be a point where you should bring in here foreigners. If I am a French working in Germany, am I a foreigner or am I a local? Because I am from EU as well. So the concept of foreigner and locals become very blurred as a result of the trade bloc and growing regionalism. Cool. So define. Okay, try to talk about the blurring, the vague, increasingly vague concepts of foreigners and locals, and then put it in your explanation here. And here is your rebuttal. I think your rebuttal is great. Okay? I like how you structure it. One thing that you might want to take note is the angling. It's not that politicians think nationalism is important. Rather, politicians know how to use nationalism in their political favor. They use it as a political tool to get votes. The more you talk about, the more you perpetuate the us versus them mentality. Us versus them mentality, okay? I am an American. They are foreigners. They are Mexicans. They are Africans. They are whatever. So that divide, okay, can cause people to say, hey, we should band together and vote for this politician who cares about us American. That's exactly what Donald Trump did, right? That is also what Nigel Farage, okay, Boris Johnson, they all did during Brexit. They tried to fan nationalism. They tried to pander to people's desire to see themselves as, hey, we are British, we are not like the rest of Europeans, so we shouldn't welcome them. Okay, so trying to breed some sort of hostility, but it's not to that extent yet. It's not hostile yet. They're not fighting yet. So we just call it us versus them mentality. You can use this term. Go and check it out. Okay. Also check up on regionalism. So when politicians do that, then nationalism will come back. Okay, whether it's good or bad, okay, it doesn't matter. But it shows that this transnationalism is becoming less and less valid because of the actions of these politicians. Okay. This is an example. But the moment you mention European Union, it becomes an example already. So can you write, like, for example, when who decided as a country to withdraw from the euro? Okay, so use that. Yeah, so they don't know the importance of nationalism, but they know the power of nationalism, the evil power of nationalism. Okay, let me go through another script of yours. This one here on environmental sustainability. A bit of a grammatical or language issues I just want to highlight to you. Okay, I think the points are pretty straightforward, so very well done. Over here, you say the sea level rise is due to climate change, due to. I give you some other ways of saying due to. Okay, why don't we say the rising sea level is a result of climate change, and it is attributed to our unsustainable practices. Okay, as a result of, attributed to. Okay, you try to use these phrases to replace your due to from now on. Okay, grammar error, that despite many efforts that have been put in place by governments to reduce, okay, you don't say reduce on, just say reduce the energy consumption. Okay, present tense, please, don't use had. Same thing, present tense here. Be explicit about your stand. This is your introduction. Your thesis statement should have the keyword here, which is futile. So the word futile or the word not futile must be in your thesis statement. You have a recommendation. I like that. Okay, you have your summary. Your recommendation is about like what everyone should do. Right? Why don't we talk about what certain groups of people should do, what companies should do, what developed countries should do, what developing countries should do, what individuals should do, what governments should do. So be a bit more specific. That makes your recommendation a lot stronger rather than just say, oh, mankind should do this. Global temperature is only one, right? Global warming is only one environmental problem. I know a lot of the points given are related to global warming, but then the question asks for environmental sustainability that goes beyond global warming. So you can talk about other things like conservation. So try to zoom out a little bit, okay? Try not to limit yourself to just rising temperature. No, we have other types of environmental problems: pollution, conservation, depleting natural resources. Yep, those are the big ones. Okay, even pollution, there's air pollution, water pollution. Okay, there's a whole bunch of them. And here, Kexin, have a look at this question on: can societies be truly inclusive? Can they be truly inclusive? Very interesting question. What is inclusiveness? The opposite of inclusiveness is intolerance. Okay, intolerance. So I've given you a better way to say this: inclusive of differences. Okay, just say okay, this led to a challenge faced by society as people have become increasingly intolerant of each other's differences. Okay, so the word you're looking for, intolerant. Learn that. Not only can they migrate from one place to another, people could always migrate, just that now they can migrate more easily. Okay, can migrate more easily. And the word that you could bring in is geographical mobility, or people have become more geographically mobile. So learn this phrase when you talk about migration. Geographically mobile means they can move from one place to another. Your OV has no reason. Where is the reason? Many people argue that they are okay, the question asks, can we be truly inclusive? Okay, you could say many people argue that we can be truly inclusive of one another because maybe of globalization, because of migration, maybe because of the internet that exposes us to foreign culture without us having to interact with people from other cultures. So the growing interconnectivity, information exchange, culture exchange from the internet, maybe that's your point. Yeah. So bring in the reason, please, and your thesis statement has no reason as well. It's not inclusive of each other because of what? Okay. You say race group. Okay, the word that you should be looking out for is racial group. Racial groups. Okay, this is part of speech error. Another word is ethnic group. Ethnic groups. People will, in GP we don't use will, we use would. Okay, until one can no longer hold on to their anger. Now, when would they stop? When would they reach the mark? Okay, what happens? So you say people tolerate with each other, and then something must trigger this, right? Maybe during peaceful time or during a crisis, people might channel their anger to other people. So when? Be a bit more specific here. Possibly during a crisis, like I say, people would find foreigners as scapegoats and channel their anger towards them, or maybe this reason, right? The rising tension. It is just something inherent. Be inherent. So you could say maybe racial divide is inherent in any society, even pluralistic society. People divide themselves like racially. So, or then you can discuss how people often see others who are different from them as not part of them. Okay, they tend to see them as outsiders and would exclude them, which perpetuates a us versus them mentality. You see, we bring that in again, us versus them mentality. Okay, so you talk about the divide between people. So no, what is causing the tension? If nothing is causing the tension, you just say it has always been there, the tension. Okay, no matter how we try to address it, it will always be there. Okay, Singaporeans, Singaporeans. Between change to among Singaporeans. Okay, the settlement. Okay, just some language issue. Okay, try to use some more proper, more formal way of conveying your idea. As a result of the settlement, okay, the Indian family were not allowed to cook curry when the Chinese family is at home. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's it, Kexin. So, couple of things to work on. So I've given you the feedback. You can rewatch this video again, okay? Especially nearing your exam, okay? Figure out the things you need to work on. Alright, that's it from me. See ya.